Hi, this is a brief recording just to highlight some of the leftover points that I wanted to pick up from TMA03, and also to pick up some points that I see every year as we do this topic, and I felt would be particularly important at the moment. So in TMA3, very often we cover the genocide in Rwanda as one of the failures and one of the great and shameful failures of the UN during the 1990s, and an example of the pressures that built up and led to the responsibility to protect. What I wanted to pick up is some of the detail about that, and also point out to you what we're looking for when we're looking for answers that demonstrate the analytical skills and insights that we're looking for in higher marks. So this takes us to a picture of Rwanda, or actually takes us to a quick graphic of the whole of Africa, and I've just put Kigali, the capital of Rwanda, in red dot there, and then linked it across to a blown up map of Rwanda, so you can just see the exact scale of Rwanda, which is really important in this discussion, I always think, as it's a tiny country right in the middle of Africa, and so surrounded by neighbours, and it had a catalytic effect upon many of the events that were to follow in that part of Africa for the following years, and that's really important for us to understand. Now, very often when I read assignments, people talk about the failure of the UN, and that's absolutely true. I don't think anybody would contest that the UN failed, but it's the nature of that failure and how that failure happened. I've put a link here to the Wikipedia account of the Rwandan genocide, and it's really important that what distinguishes a good assignment from a less good assignment is actually to acknowledge that the UN were present, that they did act, but that action was ineffective. And that's a really important distinction, and takes us to another analytical level. Sometimes people with a very broad brush kind of say the UN were not there, or they didn't do very well, or they weren't effective, but don't acknowledge that the UN were present, that the troops on the ground, as well as losing people's lives, actually did try to alert and did their best to protect people, but they were ineffective, and it's the nature and causes of that ineffectiveness that is really important to draw out in your assignment. Now, this links us through to a very contemporary problem, or a problem that keeps being contemporary, and we are on the edge perhaps of seeing this reignite. But one of the consequences of the Rwandan genocide, when the genocidal forces were forced out of Rwanda, was they fled into the neighbouring Democratic Republic of Congo, and this set off a series of events that led to the largest war that we have seen in the world since the Second World War, and to many of us it remains completely unknown, completely unexplained and unexplored. And as the link below this shows, that we appear to be on the edge of that war reigniting, and a huge tidal wave of humanitarian suffering and loss of life, we fear, will be returned to the world. And that's really important that we keep just abreast of that, and understand how an impact such and a terrible an event such as a genocide sets light to events that can keep spiraling onwards until the present day. So it is not ended, it continues. And that's really important to think about, how events are not just episodes but have consequences. And again, when we're looking for more sophisticated answers, higher marks in the course, then that is the kind of insight that we want to see. How do we link the past, or the very recent past, to the present? Now, I put that link there, which is a recent headline in The Economist. I've also put a link here to a 8-year-old explainer on YouTube by The Economist. But for those of you who know nothing about what happens in the Democratic Congo or the war there, and you wish to refresh yourselves, that's a really good source. Okay, I'm Matt Reeder. I'm one of the tutors on DD313, and you can contact me there. Okay, thank you.